The average American in their 40s has less than $93,000 saved for retirement. That sounds okay, until you do the math. To retire comfortably in America, we're talking $50,000 a year in retirement income. You need somewhere between $1.2 and $1.5 million saved up. $93,000. That's not a savings gap. That's a retirement crisis happening in slow motion, and most people don't even see it coming. Here's the thing. Most people in their 40s tell themselves the same story. I still have time. And technically, that's true. But here's what that story is costing you. Every single year you spend telling yourself you have time without taking action is a year of compound interest you will never get back. Your 40s is not still early. Your 40s is the last window where the decisions you make today still have enough time to compound into something life-changing. Miss this window, and you're not just behind, you're locked in. So, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly why your 40s is the decade that determines everything. The math behind it, the mistakes that silently destroy retirement, and the specific moves you need to make right now. Not next year, not when things settle down. Right now. Let's get into it. Let me ask you something. Think back to your 20s. You weren't making much. Maybe you were paying off student loans, figuring out rent, just trying to get your footing. Nobody expected you to have it all figured out. Your 30s? Still building. Career was growing. Maybe you bought a house, had kids. Life got more expensive, but you told yourself, I'm still young, I'll catch up. And now you're in your 40s, and here's what's different. For the first time in your life, three things are happening at exactly the same time. Your income is at its highest point ever. Your expenses are at their highest point ever. And your window for compound interest is closing faster than you think. That combination, it only happens once. Think of it like pushing a heavy boulder up a hill. Your 20s and 30s, you were grinding. Every push felt hard. Progress was slow. That's normal. But your 40s, you're approaching the top of that hill. The tipping point. Push the boulder the right way now, and it starts rolling on its own. Compound interest takes over. Investments grow while you sleep. The hard part starts getting easier. But here's the other side of that. Stop pushing, or push in the wrong direction, and that boulder starts rolling back. Debt compounds. Inflation eats your savings. Retirement gets further away, not closer. Same decade. Two completely different outcomes. Here's a number I want you to hold on to. Every dollar you invest at 40 becomes roughly $7 by the time you retire, assuming an 8% average return over 25 years. Every dollar you waste at 40 costs you $7 in your future. That's not motivation. That's just math. But here's what nobody talks about. There's one silent killer that's been working against you for years. Quietly, consistently. Most people in their 40s have absolutely no idea it's happening. We're going to talk about that right now. I want to introduce you to the single biggest threat to your retirement. It's not the stock market. It's not inflation. It's not even your debt. It's called a lifestyle creep. And it's the reason smart, hardworking people in their 40s, people who are doing everything right, still end up broke at 65. Here's what it looks like in real life. You're 30 years old, making $60,000 a year. You're putting $400 a month into savings. Life is tight, but you're managing. Fast forward to today, you're 42, making $110,000 a year. And you know how much you're putting into savings? $400 a month, exact same number. So where did the extra $50,000 a year go? Bigger house, newer car, nicer vacations, more subscriptions, better restaurants. Little upgrades here and there that each made complete sense at the time. You didn't feel richer. You just felt normal. That's exactly how lifestyle creep works. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't feel like a mistake. It feels like progress. But here's the truth. You didn't build wealth. You just built a more expensive life. And this is the number that should stop you cold. Average American household income grew over 50% in the last 15 years. The average retirement savings rate? Barely moved. I want you to remember the name. Lifestyle creep. Because every single time I mention it in this video, that's money that should be sitting in your retirement account right now. Every single time. Now let's look at the math. Because what I'm about to show you is going to make you seriously uncomfortable. Let's talk numbers. Because this is where most people's retirement plans fall apart. Not because they're lazy, not because they don't care. but because they've never actually sat down and looked at what the math is telling them. So let's do that right now. If you're 40 years old and you start investing $500 a month today, at an average 8% return, by the time you hit 65, you'll have roughly $473,000. That's not bad. But watch what happens when you wait. Start at 45, same $500 a month, same 8% return. You end up with $310,000. Wait until 50, $204,000. Same person, same discipline, same amount invested every single month. The only difference is when they started. That gap between starting at 40 versus starting at 50 is $269,000. And here's the part that really hurts. Every year you wait doesn't just cost you $6,000 in contributions. It costs you roughly $27,000 at retirement when you factor in compound growth. Not $500, not $6,000, $27,000 per year. Gone. Now let's flip this around because I want you to see the full picture. You need $1.2 million to retire comfortably. The average person in their 40s has $93,000 saved. That's a gap of over $1.1 million. You have 25 years. To close that gap, starting from zero contributions, you would need to invest roughly $1,100 every single month between now and retirement. Not $200, not $500, $1,100 every month. Starting now, I'm not saying that to scare you. I'm saying that because this is the actual math. And the sooner you understand it, the sooner you can start closing that gap. Now, here's where something shifts. When most people look at these numbers, their brain goes into panic mode. And panic leads to paralysis. They don't know where to start, so they don't start at all. But here's what I've seen happen when people actually start, even imperfectly. Something changes psychologically. When you have nothing saved, every financial decision feels like survival. You're reactive, stressed, one unexpected bill away from crisis. But once you start building, once you see that number in your retirement account actually growing, your brain shifts out of survival mode. You stop making fear-based decisions, you start making growth-based decisions. That shift, it's worth more than any single investment you'll ever make. But to get there, you need to get 3 specific decisions right. And right now, most people in their 40s are getting all 3 of them wrong. Let's talk about that. There are 3 decisions happening right now in your 40s. 3 decisions that will either set you up for a retirement you're proud of or lock in a retirement you're stressed about every single day. Most people get all 3 wrong. Not because they're bad with money, but because nobody ever laid it out clearly. So let's do that right now. Decision 1, are you still carrying the wrong debt? I want you to picture 2 people, both 42 years old, both making $95,000 a year, both putting $300 a month into their 401k. Same income, same savings rate, same everything, one difference. Person A has $12,000 in credit card debt at 22% interest. Person B paid off that same debt 2 years ago. By age 65, that one decision creates a $340,000 gap in their retirement accounts. Same income, same job. One decision. Here's the math that makes this undeniable. Your credit card is charging you 22% interest. The stock market returns an average of 8 to 10% per year. That means every single month you carry high interest debt while investing. You are mathematically losing money. You are paying 22 cents to earn 8 cents. That's not investing, that's bleeding out slowly. So here's the rule. Kill any debt above 7% interest before you increase your investments. Now, one important exception. If your employer offers a 401k match, always contribute enough to grab that first. Always. Because that match is a 100% guaranteed return on your money. Nothing in the market comes close to that. But beyond the match, high interest debt comes first, every time. Decision 2. Are you maximizing tax-advantaged accounts? Here's a stat that's going to frustrate you. Only 14% of Americans max out their 401k. Only 23% even have an IRA. The people who do maximize these accounts, they save between $15,000 and $20,000 in taxes every single year. That's not a rounding error. That's a car payment. That's a vacation. That's real money, going straight into their retirement instead of to the IRS. There are 3 accounts every person in their 40s needs to understand. First, your 401k. Contribute at minimum enough to get the full employer match, then increase from there. Second, a Roth IRA. You can contribute $7,000 a year. The money grows completely tax-free. And in retirement, every dollar you pull out, tax-free. Most people in their 40s either don't have one or opened one years ago and forgot about it. Third, and this one catches almost everyone off guard, the HSA, the Health Savings Account. If you have a high deductible health plan, you can contribute to an HSA. And here's why it matters. Contributions are tax deductible. Growth is tax-free. Withdrawals for medical expenses are tax-free. Triple tax advantage on one account. It might be the most underutilized retirement tool in America. And here's something most people in their 40s don't know yet. Once you turn 50, the IRS allows you to contribute an extra $7,500 to your 401k every single year on top of the regular limit. It's called a catch-up contribution. Most people never use it. The ones who do, they close the retirement gap faster than almost anything else available to them. Decision 3. Is your lifestyle quietly destroying your future? Remember lifestyle creep? It's back, because this is where it does the most damage. Picture this. 5 years ago, you were making $80,000 a year. Today, you're making $120,000. That's a $40,000 increase. And your monthly savings contribution? Still $300. So where did the extra $40,000 a year go? Bigger mortgage payment, second car, kids' activities, more dining out, better vacations, subscriptions you signed up for and forgot about. None of it felt excessive. Each decision made sense on its own. But here's what lifestyle creep actually cost you. If you had invested just half of that income increase, $20,000 a year, over the next 25 years at 8% return, that's $1.5 million. $1.5 million. Sitting right there. Available. If lifestyle creep hadn't already spent it. And this is the part that stings the most. You didn't feel richer when your income went up. You just adjusted. You normalized the new lifestyle. And now going back feels impossible, even though forward is exactly where you need to go. That's not a spending problem. That's a psychology problem. And the only way out is to make the decision consciously, before the next raise, before the next promotion, before the next income increase, that a percentage of every dollar you earn goes straight to your future self, not what's left over. First, now, those 3 decisions are critical. But there are mistakes. Specific, devastating mistakes that can undo all of it in a single moment. And they happen most often when people are under financial pressure. Let's talk about those right now. There's a difference between being behind on retirement and being locked out of it. Being behind, you can fix that. The math we just talked about shows you exactly how. But there are 3 mistakes that don't just set you back, they lock in failure. Permanently. And they almost always happen when people are under financial pressure, which is exactly when your 40s can get complicated. Mistake 1. Cashing out. Your 401k early, picture this. You're 48. You just went through a divorce. Bills are stacking up. The emergency fund is gone. And sitting right there in your 401k is $60,000. It's your money. You earned it. And right now you need it. So you cash it out. Here's what actually happens next. The IRS takes a 10% early withdrawal penalty immediately. Then federal income taxes. Then state taxes depending on where you live. By the time it's done, you just lost 35 to 40 cents of every single dollar. That's $60,000. You walk away with maybe $38,000 in your hand. And what you lost isn't just the $22,000 in penalties and taxes. It's the $170,000 that $60,000 would have grown into by the time you retired. Gone. From one decision, made under pressure. And this happens constantly. Americans cash out over $70 billion from retirement accounts early every single year. That's not a personal finance problem. That's a generational retirement crisis. Mistake 2. Waiting for the right time to invest. You've heard this one before. The market is too high right now. I'll wait for it to dip. Things are uncertain. I'll start investing once things stabilize. Here's the data that destroys that logic completely. Researchers studied what would happen if someone invested a lump sum every year. but with the worst possible timing. Every single year they invested at the exact market peak, the highest point of the year. Over 20 years, they still ended up with hundreds of thousands of dollars more than the person who stayed in cash waiting for the perfect moment. Because it was never about timing the market, it was always about timing the market. The right time to invest was yesterday. The second best time is right now. And every month you spend waiting is a month of compounding you hand over to someone else. Mistake 3. Treating your home as your retirement plan. This one is the most common and the most dangerous. Nearly 60% of Americans believe their home is their retirement plan. Here's the problem. Your house doesn't send you a paycheck. Equity is not income. A paid-off mortgage is not a distribution. And selling your home at 70 to fund your retirement means downsizing, relocating, and hoping the market cooperates, all while you're supposed to be enjoying retirement. A paid-off home is a wonderful thing, but it is not a retirement strategy. Your retirement needs cash flow, consistent, predictable monthly income you cannot outlive. A house cannot give you that alone. Now that you know what to avoid, let's talk about exactly what to do. Because the next 5 years are the most important financial years of your life. Here's what I want you to walk away with today. Not a vague idea, not general motivation. A specific framework, year by year, for exactly what the next 5 years need to look like if you're serious about retirement. This isn't complicated, but it requires intention, and it requires doing things in the right order. Year 1 and 2. Build the foundation. Before anything else, I'd kill every debt above 7% interest. Credit cards first, high-interest personal loans second. At the same time, build a 6-month emergency fund. This is not optional. This is the thing that stops you from making mistake number 1 the next time life gets hard. And contribute enough to your 401k to grab the full employer match. Every dollar of that match is a 100% return. You do not leave that on the table. This is boring. Do it anyway. Year 2 and 3. Start accelerating. Open a Roth IRA if you don't have one. Contribute $7,000 a year. Set it up on autopilot so you never have to think about it. Increase your 401k contribution to at least 10% of your income. And do something most people never do. Sit down and audit every recurring expense in your life. Every subscription, every automatic charge, every monthly habit. This is where you find lifestyle creep hiding. Cut what doesn't add real value. Redirect every dollar straight to your retirement accounts. Year 3 and 4. Optimize. If you have a high-deductible health plan, open an HSA and max it out. Triple tax advantage. Use it. Push your 401k contribution to 15% of your income. If you still have money left after maxing tax-advantaged accounts, open a taxable brokerage account and start investing there too. You are now playing a completely different game than 90% of people your age. Year 4 and 5. Let it compound. Start building additional income streams, a side income, passive income, anything that adds cash flow outside your main job. Prepare for catch-up contributions when you turn 50. An extra $7,500 into your 401k every year. Review your asset allocation. Make sure your investments match where you actually are. Not too aggressive, not too conservative. By year 5, compound interest is starting to work harder than you are. That's the whole point. I want to take a step back from the numbers for a second, because everything we've talked about today, the math, the 3 decisions, the 5-year framework, none of it works without this. The most important thing that changes in your 40s isn't your bank account, it's who you become. Here's what I mean. Most people walk into their 40s with a financial identity built in their 20s. I'll figure it out later. I'm not really a money person. I work hard. I deserve to enjoy what I earn. And that identity, it makes every single decision for them, without them even realizing it. The people who retire comfortably didn't just make better investments, they became a different kind of decision maker. They stopped asking, can I afford the monthly payment? And started asking, what does this cost my future self? That shift changes everything. Before that shift, every financial problem feels like a crisis. You're reactive. You're stressed. You're one unexpected expense away from falling apart. After that shift, like every financial problem becomes a decision. Calm, intentional, manageable. And here's the practical side of that identity shift. Stop optimizing the small things. Stop obsessing over cutting $5 here and $10 there. Start focusing on the big levers, increasing your income, maxing your tax-advantaged accounts, eliminating high-interest debt, protecting yourself from lifestyle creep. Those are the moves that actually move the needle. The small stuff is noise. The big levers are everything. Let me leave you with this. Your 40s won't make you rich overnight. No video will. No framework will. No 5-year plan will. But here's what your 40s will do, if you let them. They will determine whether the person you are at 65 wakes up every morning with freedom or wakes up every morning with regret. That's not dramatic. That's just the math playing out over time. The people who retire comfortably didn't get lucky. They didn't have some secret advantage. They didn't make more money than everyone else. They just made different decisions in their 40s. They killed the debt. They maxed the accounts. They caught lifestyle creep before it caught them. They stopped waiting for the perfect time. And they started imperfectly. Inconsistently sometimes, but they started. And then compound interest did the rest. 10 years from now, you're going to look back at this exact moment, and one of two things will be true. Either you'll look back and say, that was the moment I finally took this seriously. That was when everything started to change. Or you'll look back and say, I knew. I just didn't do anything about it. The math doesn't care which one you choose. But your future self does. So make the decision today, not tomorrow, not when things settle down, not after the next paycheck, today. And if this video helped you see your 40s differently, hit subscribe. Because next week we're going to talk about exactly how to build a retirement income stream you literally cannot outlive. You don't want to miss that one.